Good evening, guys, and happy Tuesday to all of your sunshiny faces. So I don't have a Meyer haul for you guys today, and I didn't yesterday because my dad went to Tony's and Caputo's because of everything that was kind of going on over the weekend. And I didn't have one today because my dad was like, oh, we didn't talk about going to Meyer, and I realized I didn't actually finish making my grocery list anyway. I have to finish that so that we can go there tomorrow. So I should have a Meyer haul for you guys in tomorrow's vlog. And then again too, Jewel should be on, you know, Saturday, and then, or no, on Sunday, and then Tony's and Caputo's on Saturday, most likely. I think everything should be normal. I don't think there's anything else going on, or football stuff or anything like that. The nice thing though is that the football game will be at home, so I don't have to drive another hour on the school bus or anything this week like did last week. And 2 weeks ago we've had, like, just in that amount of time, it's been like 5 hours worth of school bus riding in the last just 3 weeks. Like, that's kind of crazy. I feel like even normal, like, school kids that, like, take the bus, it's probably like 10 minutes maybe, right? Like, you know, like in the morning, like taking the bus to and from school or whatever, that's like less than 2 hours in total. It takes you like 10 minutes, let's just say 10 minutes at most, right? 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in, you know, in the afternoon to, like, you know, take the bus back home. Like, that's like 20 minutes a day. And then 20 minutes 5 days a week, that's like 100. That's less than 2 hours. So like, that's less time than I spent on the bus in the last 3 weeks, which was, you know, like I said, an hour both ways yesterday or on Friday. And then last week was like probably, I don't know, maybe about 20 or so minutes, 20-30 minutes. And then again, an hour the week before that both ways, an hour there and an hour back. So that was not fun. Like, honestly, that was like the same amount of time as it took us for the playoff game. I think it was like 5 hours to get there, maybe, and 5 hours to get back. So that was like, that's almost been the amount of time that we've spent one way so far. Anyways, though, this week is gonna be at home, which is nice. And it's weird too though, right? So we had, our first game was at home, then we've had 3 away games, we have another game at home now, then I think we have 2 away games, and then we have 2 home games. And I think there's still another away game that we have to go to that's another, like, I think it's an hour and a half. Oh my gosh, guys, I am not looking forward to this at all. Honestly, all of the games, okay, except for one, the first game of the season that we had, the team that we played drove an hour to us. All of the other ones that we have, like, again, too, like, all of the new teams that we're playing are like an hour or so away from us, which is like crazy. And almost all of them this year we have to go to, except for that first one. I don't know for sure who the last 2 of the season are, but I know for sure the very, very last game, which again, too, those last 2 games are at home. So it's 2 after this week. I think it'll be 2 away and then 2 home for the last 2 final games of the season. And the last game I know is against a team that normally they're like kind of far. Last year was really bad because they were redoing their home field, so they were playing at a college, which was like, the traffic was what was really bad, and because they were also doing construction, so there was like no good way to get there. So it ended up, I think it took us like over an hour, maybe an hour and a half or something like that also. But normally it takes probably maybe about like 45 minutes or something like that, or maybe a little less, like a half an hour to 45 minutes depending, to get to the school that we normally go to. That's the last game of the season. We normally have played them for the last couple of years, but this year they're coming to us and we don't have to go to them. But that was probably the furthest one that we'd ever had to go to before all of this, and now we've got like 3 teams this year that are all like an hour or so away from us, which is not fun. It has not been fun. And again, too, the worst part is that, so last year, the reason that, again, too, that school that we went to when we went to the college was so long was because of the construction. That's the same construction that's going on like near the other schools that we went to. So like last week, my dad was like, well, I know a better way to get there, like by going, I don't know how exactly he figured it out, but there was a certain way that he told the bus drivers to take to avoid all of that traffic. And we did manage to get there considerably faster without the traffic. But it's like, there's one street that's like really bad because it might be 3 lanes, but I think it's 2 lanes, like rush hour. Like it was just not like, not very good. But then at some point too, there's construction. So that it makes it even worse. So again, my dad was like, he was talking to the head coach. He was like on Friday before that we left for the game, he was talking to the head coach, and he was like, the head coach was like, how do you think is the best way to get there? Because he's like, you normally go that way for work. Like what way should we go? And because that's normally like when my dad goes to work, he normally drives that way, but he leaves so early in the morning, he avoids pretty much most of the traffic. So he's like, okay, I know how to get there, and he like figured it out. And then they told the bus drivers, and we got there in a decent time. Like I think it actually took maybe, I don't want to say it took longer to get to the first one, but it probably should have. That first away game that we had 2 weeks ago should have probably not been as long, but they like took a weird path. And then they also thought that we were going to a different school, so it was like East and West, you know, like the school name, and they thought we were going to like West when I think we were going to East or something like that, or maybe it was the other way around. But either way, they were going actually to the wrong one. It was, granted, it was like just down the street from the other one, but they had to like make a U-turn and then like come back around. So they also were going to the wrong school, but it was basically the same place, like same path, you know, to take to get there. But they also weren't like really avoiding the traffic. They were like going like, again, to not like the wrong way, but like, you know, my dad was like, we probably could have found a better way to have avoided a lot of the traffic. So then again, to this week, like this last Friday, my dad was like, okay, we figured it out, we know how to get there the best way, you know, like again, to avoid the traffic and like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it wasn't, we were moving pretty consistently, which was good. It was just, again, too, it was long, and there was a couple points where there was like congestion, you know, like other than that, it wasn't all of too bad. Thankfully though, this Friday we will be at home, which is really nice, and that means that I get to watch the Frost Off game, which I've watched pretty much. Normally it's like the second half is when the varsity team gets there, or the second quarter normally is when the varsity team gets there, so I haven't missed most of the game. It's honestly around the same time me and my mom would get to the games, like when we would go. Now that I'm taking the bus with my dad and like the varsity team, we get there almost at the same time, like me and my mom would get to a lot of the games too. So anyways, it's worked out, I guess, pretty well. Like it's pretty much been the exact same time anyway, so I normally just get to watch most of the Frost Off game, but I don't normally get to see the very beginning of it, unless I went with the Frost Off team. But the problem is that like it's so early that like then there's nobody there. So like they, again, too, the varsity kids get there early to like, they go in the locker room, they like, you know, warm up, all that kind of stuff. Whereas like the Frost Off kids, they do the same thing, but there's nothing to watch. So I just be like sitting there for like a half an hour, 45 minutes or whatever, like just in the stands, not doing anything until they like finally come out onto the field. Whereas at least when I come with the varsity, there's something to like watch, you know? So I guess that's kind of the good thing. But also, guys, tomorrow, I don't know if I have mentioned this at all. I think maybe I did. Last Wednesday, our plumber was supposed to come to fix the stuff for the laundry room and like get all of that stuff finished up, I guess, and handled and everything like that, that, you know, that we've been waiting for not that we've been waiting for a while, but originally we didn't know what we wanted to do and when we were gonna like do it, and if we were gonna try and get the bedrooms taken care of before we did that. But then we were like, it doesn't make sense. So it took us a little while to like officially figure out what we were planning on doing. Then we decided to, and then he had like a 2-week wait. So we waited 2 or so weeks, and then he was like, oh, I can come on Wednesday. Well, it was last Wednesday, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that everybody had going on last Wednesday that kind of not all came up at the same time, but like it wasn't really well planned out. And then we were like, yeah, I guess nobody's gonna be here like at the same time. Like people would be home, but like, you know, back and forth kind of thing. So, and we didn't want there to be like an overlap where like certain people weren't gonna be here, you know, like where it was gonna be like a couple hours or somebody might not be home or whatever. So it didn't end up working out last Wednesday, and we were like, oh no, are we gonna have to wait like another 2-3 weeks until he has availability again? Thankfully he was able to come this Wednesday, so he will be here tomorrow. So I need to get to bed so I can get up hopefully earlier-ish in the morning, because again, too, the dogs, we got to take them out in the morning. I need to like get my food and like ready and all that kind of stuff before he ends up getting there. So that is the plan for tomorrow. So that is why I'm going to go and take a shower, get to bed early tonight. But I will see you guys in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.